Patience is easy to admire from a distance, but it is much harder to practice when life is moving too slowly. There is an old story about a young man who wanted everything to happen quickly. He wanted success quickly. He wanted respect quickly. He wanted answers quickly. He wanted his pain to disappear quickly. And because life did not move at the speed of his desire, he became restless. He lived in a small village between dry hills and olive trees. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise and worked hard. He was not lazy. He was not foolish. He was not without ambition. In fact, many people admired his energy, but inside him, there was always a storm. Whenever he planted something, he wanted it to grow the next day. Whenever he learned something, he wanted to master it immediately. Whenever he helped someone, he wanted gratitude right away. Whenever he started a new path, he wanted to see the destination before taking the second step. If results did not come quickly, he became discouraged. If people did not change quickly, he became angry. If life did not answer quickly, he began to doubt everything. One day, after months of effort, he looked at his work and felt nothing but frustration. He had planted seeds, but the field was still mostly empty. He had tried to build a better life, but nothing looked finished. He had prayed for change, but his heart still felt heavy. So he went to the edge of the village and sat beneath an old tree. There, an old man was watering a small garden. The old man moved slowly. He did not rush. He did not complain. He did not seem worried about the heat, the dust, or the passing hours. The young man watched him for a while. Then he said, "Old man, how can you move so slowly when life is so short?" The old man looked at him and smiled. "Because life is short," he said. "I do not waste it fighting the speed of things." The young man frowned. "I do not understand." The old man placed the water jar on the ground. "What troubles you?" he asked. The young man answered, "I work hard, but everything takes too long. I am tired of waiting. I want to become something. I want to see results. I want my life to change." The old man nodded. Then he pointed toward the garden. "Come," he said. "Let me show you something." The old man led the young man into the garden. It was small, but beautiful. There were herbs near the stones. There were young plants growing in neat rows. There was one tree in the middle, still thin, but alive. The old man pointed to the young tree. "Do you see this tree?" he asked. "Yes," said the young man. "I planted it many seasons ago." The young man looked at it. "It is still small." The old man laughed softly. "Yes, and every impatient man in the village has told me the same thing." The young man crossed his arms. "If it has taken many seasons, and it is still this small, perhaps it is not worth the effort." The old man became quiet. Then he said, "That is why many people never see fruit." The young man looked at him. The old man continued, "They plant something. They water it for a few days. Then they dig it up to see if the roots are growing. And because they disturb the roots again and again, the plant never becomes strong." The young man looked down at the soil. The old man picked up a seed from a small bowl. "Tell me," he said, "if I place this seed in the ground today, can I force it to become a tree by tomorrow?" "No," said the young man. "Can I shout at it?" "No." "Can I compare it to a taller tree and make it grow faster?" "No." "Can I open the soil every morning and demand proof?" The young man hesitated. "No, that would damage it." The old man nodded. "And yet this is what many people do with their own lives." The young man said nothing. The old man placed the seed in his palm. "They begin a dream. but they keep pulling it apart to see if it is working. They start healing, but they become angry because peace does not arrive in one day. They learn a skill, but they quit because mastery does not come after the first lesson. They build a relationship, but they lose patience before trust has time to grow. The young man listened more carefully now. The old man closed his hand around the seed. Patience is not doing nothing, he said. Patience is doing what is needed, again and again, without trying to steal tomorrow from today. The young man looked at the small tree. For the first time, he saw it differently. It was not weak because it was small. It was alive because it had stayed. The old man then walked toward a shelf near the garden wall. On it were several clay jars. Some were cracked. Some were unfinished. Some were smooth and strong. The old man picked up an unfinished jar. "Do you know how this is made?" he asked. "With clay," said the young man. "With clay," the old man repeated. "But not with clay alone." He placed the jar between them. "First, the clay must be shaped. Then it must dry. Then it must pass through fire. If you rush one step, the jar breaks." The young man touched the side of the jar. It was rough and fragile. The old man said, "If I remove it from the fire too early, it remains weak. If I leave it too long without care, it may crack. If I become impatient and use it before it is ready, it will not hold water." The young man looked at the jars on the shelf. "So patience is waiting?" he asked. The old man shook his head. "No, patience is not simply waiting. Many people wait with anger in their hearts. That is not patience. That is suffering with a quiet face." The young man looked up. The old man continued, "True patience is trust with discipline." He picked up one of the finished jars and filled it with water. Then he handed it to the young man. This jar became useful because it accepted the process. The young man held the jar carefully. The old man said, "People want the strength of the jar, but they do not want the shaping. They want the harvest, but they do not want the seasons. They want wisdom, but they do not want the lessons that make wisdom necessary." The young man felt those words deeply. He thought about all the times he had started something and abandoned it too early. He thought about the field he had planted, the work he had doubted, the dreams he had judged too soon. Maybe life had not been refusing him. Maybe life had simply been growing roots where he could not yet see them. The old man looked at him and said, "The danger is not that life is too slow. The danger is that you walk away before the fruit appears." The young man closed his eyes. For the first time in many months, he felt his breathing slow down. The old man placed a hand on the young man's shoulder. "Do not confuse delay with denial," he said. "Some things are not late. They are being prepared." The young man stayed in the garden until evening. Before he left, he asked the old man one final question. "How do I know when to wait and when to act?" The old man smiled. "Act where action is yours," he said. "Wait where growth belongs to time." The young man repeated the words. "Act where action is yours. Wait where growth belongs to time." The old man pointed towards the field beyond the village. "You can plant the seed. You can water the soil. You can remove the weeds. You can protect the young plant. But you cannot command the roots. You cannot force the rain. You cannot pull the sun across the sky. You cannot turn a season into a day." The young man looked toward the horizon. The old man continued, "Do your part fully. Then let time do its part quietly." That evening, the young man returned to his field. Nothing had changed. The soil was still dry in some places. The plants were still small. The work was still unfinished. But something inside him had changed. The next morning, he did not go to the field demanding proof. He went to care for it. He watered the soil. He removed the stones. He protected the young plants from the wind. Days passed, then weeks, then seasons. Some seeds did not grow. Some plants died. Some efforts failed. But the young man no longer saw every delay as a punishment. He began to understand that patience was not weakness. Patience was strength stretched over time. And slowly, the field began to change. Green appeared where there had once been dust. Small branches became stronger. Flowers opened quietly, without asking for applause. One morning, the young man stood in the field and remembered the old man's words. Some things are not late. They are being prepared. And perhaps this is the lesson hidden inside the story. Do not abandon the seed, because it has not become a tree overnight. Do not quit the path because the destination is not visible yet. Do not mistake silence for failure. Some growth happens underground. Some answers arrive slowly. Some strength is built in the waiting. Patience does not mean you stop moving. It means you stop destroying your peace, because life is not moving at your speed. So plant what must be planted. Water what must be watered. Do your part with courage. Then let time do what only time can do. If this story gave you something to think about, subscribe to Wisdomary Tales for more stories that make you think.